Well, hello there.
Hi. Howdy.
Hi.
Howdy, y'all.
So we're going to do something different today.
Yes, right. So we always tend to, sorry, I don't know if I was completely ready. We struggled this week, right? We have lots of topics that we write down, and we're realizing as we write them down, we probably should be writing more notes with them because we have ideas and they spark ideas. And then we're like, oh man, we got to go back to that. So, it's a work in progress. Let's face it. Just like the lighting, just like the placement of cameras, all that stuff. It's always a work in progress. But that's okay.
You're doing awesome.
But so are you. But it's just, we're going to do something. We haven't done it in a while. It's just fun.
It's fun anyway.
We're going to we're going to go through the ACE metaphor cards again, right?
Yep.
Their relationship debates.
And I have relationship discussions.
I think we swapped cards somehow, but it doesn't matter. They just spark little conversations
fun.
And talk. But
and they're going to be random, like always. We're just going to pick them randomly and then answer.
Have a conversation. This is like most of our conversations anyway, right?
Yeah.
That's kind of funny. But
it's episode 48, right?
48, right. Yep. And it's got no real name at this point in time because
it's going to be relationship discussions and debates.
It's high-end production here, folks. The other thing we want to discuss before we get into pulling cards and talking about it is you and I, we're doing something new, right? In life. We're going to try something. We always struggle with a little bit of weight loss.
Yep.
And we have our problem target areas.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
Mine for me is like I get some flab on my chest. Even when I lose weight, I still keep it there and I hate it.
And I've got the wonderful hormonal belly for women over 50.
Yes, right. So on top of working on it ourselves, we're going to... So we go every week and we tan a little bit because it feels good, right?
10 minutes a week.
I encourage people to do it. It's not a big deal as long as you're doing it responsibly.
Correct.
We don't go in there to bake. We're not like Tan Mom or anything like that. But yeah, we go to LA Tan and we also started doing some red light therapy there.
It's so awesome.
Yeah. So lots of great research on red light therapy and how it helps your body, etc.
It really has too, and because we have the auras, we've noticed
the ring.
Some changes. The aura ring.
Yeah,
we've noticed some changes after not doing the red light therapy for a while. So we're looking forward to actually going back and getting the data on there to see, because this is like real proof of what's happening to our bodies with the red light, which is kind of cool.
So and I will see. I swear it was helping me sleep better. So
agreed.
But this is a little new for us because it's kind of, I don't want to call it a sponsorship, but it's like maybe a relationship.
Partnership.
Yeah,
it's a
partnership. Because
relationship.
It's something we're paying for, but
correct.
It was kind of cool. So we went in and we decided to look into this this thing called the Emerald Laser, which helps with fat loss, right? Mm-hmm. The whole idea behind it is
not weight loss, fat loss.
Fat loss, right.
Correct.
Fat loss, inches, basically in target areas. Correct. So it like releases what's stored in your fat cells. So instead of removing them like liposuction, that kind of stuff does, this is so many weeks of going in and having this laser, and then it flushes it out of your body, right?
Mm-hmm. No downtime.
So we're
surgery.
giving that a shot, right?
Yep.
With the camera. See it? It's Emerald Laser. But it was cool because the folks at LA Tan, it's also Soray Wellness.
Soray Wellness inside of LA Tan.
Yeah. So the girls over there are super nice.
Absolutely,
and
they are.
Half of them know who we are for whatever reason. I don't know why. But when we told them we had a podcast, they said, oh, mention us on the podcast. That would be awesome. And they all started listening. From what I understand.
Yeah.
So we get to lose a little weight and they get to listen to our podcast and maybe learn a little something.
And we get to document our journey, which is helpful for us and helpful for them and helpful for anyone else who is interested in doing it as well.
Right. So it's cool. Not only document it, we'll talk about it here every week.
Yeah, I think we get to know how many inches we lost after every session.
Right.
So, yeah.
They do have a website. It's sorewellness.com. That's SORE wellness.com.
We specifically work with the Danita Square in Wheaton, Illinois.
Yeah, they're awesome.
Yeah.
So
we'll have their information in the...
Yeah. So give them a call. Check it out if you have some problem areas.
So that'll be our journey starting Saturday.
Yeah, starting Saturday. So it should be fun. And yeah, I'm hoping it'll be kind of, I don't know, it's something new and maybe a little awkward for me to try and do, but
yeah, that's okay. Yeah. We're getting out of our comfort zone.
That's right. So thank you guys over there. So what do you want? You want to go first? Go ahead and pluck one. Pluck one, Tina.
Okay, you ready? True or false?
False.
A man will change his toxic behaviors, but only for the quote-unquote right woman. Defend your answer.
I already said false. I didn't know a card was coming.
I know.
I feel like yes, both true and false, right?
Okay.
I think in some cases, well, I think most of my answer is going to be mostly false.
Okay.
Right? They change their behavior when they learn that what they're doing is toxic. Okay.
Okay.
So they may have already had the right people there, but they don't just, I don't think toxic traits, I don't think they just magically change because the right person's on the other side. Right. I'm not saying fully, because I'm sure the right person could come along, but I think if the right person comes along and they know they're the right person, but that person tells them, we're done because of this, and this, they may change those habits because they know what they're going to lose. Right.
Okay.
I don't think they just automatically change them because I don't think they realize or really give a shit that their behaviors are toxic because they keep doing them. So either they don't realize them, realize it, or they're not interested in changing it.
But that's where it's the question is, if the right person comes along, does that person suddenly not want to be that way anymore? Do they want to be a better version of themselves, that because they continued to be with the same types of women and now all of a sudden this other type of woman comes in and now they're like, they get hit with it and they're like, holy cow. And now they don't want to be who they were before. They want to be better so there could be in this woman's life. Or is it fake?
Only if they know their behaviors are toxic.
Interesting.
Or care that their behaviors are toxic.
Interesting. So it never really goes away?
Well, no. I mean, I guess it depends on the toxic behavior, right? But most of them come from somewhere.
Yeah.
And until they've dealt with where they come from, they're going to continue it on. And while, yes, that right person may motivate them to be a better person, in this case, we're talking about a man. So to be a better man, that goal may always be there, but the toxic trait doesn't go away unless it's pointed out that you're doing something like a dipshit. Right.
Yeah.
Right.
The healing has to happen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
100%. So can it? Yes. Does it happen automatically? No, not at all. So
good one. Good answer.
I know. Thanks. It's like Family Feud. Good answer. What is this one? Oh, this should be interesting.
Oh boy.
This one's good too. I'm going to save that one a little bit. This one says, you're in an official relationship with a person, but they repeatedly introduce you as their friend while at a holiday family gathering. Would this bother you?
So you're in an official relationship and you're introduced as friend?
Yes.
It would absolutely would bother me.
Yeah.
And in reality, it would bother me so much that I would make sure that it was brought up in front of everybody to make it perfectly clear that I was not a friend. Although at that moment in time, I might become a friend, to be honest with you.
Yeah, right. You're right. We are now friends. Huh.
And in all seriousness though, the reality is that if I understood why the person was saying that.
There you go.
Okay, so I think it's funny. I had to open with that.
No, it's awesome.
But in all seriousness, there could be, if there's a reason why I'm introduced as a friend.
Yeah.
Could be cultural differences, racial differences. There, maybe same sex, whatever it could be, and maybe the family isn't prepared for it, doesn't know about it. Like
sure.
maybe the person that you're dating
right.
hasn't come out, whatever it is. So in that case, if they're not ready yet, I think as long as it's discussed, though.
Yeah.
So I feel like it wouldn't bother me if it was discussed. If it wasn't discussed and I didn't know, although, I mean, me personally, I notice everything. So I don't know. You'd have to really be paying attention as the person.
Yeah.
How this works. I mean, because let's face it, nothing is that black and white, really, in reality. However, I think that's part of it, though, is if you knew the person was doing that.
Yeah.
For a reason,
yeah,
you'd be okay with it. If they were just doing it, so if they were doing it knowing that they didn't have a discussion with you, I think that would bother me. But it would also be partially my fault if I didn't tell the person it was bothering me, right? So if they continued to do it and I never said, hey, Norm, this bothers me that you call me friend, you didn't correct it because I didn't tell you it bothered me, but secretly it is bothering me, that's my fault.
Sure.
Because I didn't even give you the opportunity to correct it or talk about it.
So, okay.
Lots of different answers,
no.
right?
So the point that you made about being gay and bringing a partner home, out of all of those, I think that's the one I probably agree with the most, because that's a thing that is can be divisive for people for whatever reason.
Right, if they didn't come out yet or whatever.
Right, and they haven't come out yet, and they don't want that out. And I think both usually will understand that for a while. Right. Right?
Right.
That only gets tolerated for so long.
Absolutely.
In all of it.
Absolutely.
Now, I'm gonna add a part B to the question.
Okay.
Part B being, it does bother you, right? So we've answered part A, it bothers you. Part B, does it get brought up right then? Or do you wait till later because there's obviously a reason that person is doing it? So we already know what my answer is for part B, I guess, because I just said that.
I mean, obviously it would be like, I know myself, and I know like I'm someone who wants to talk about things immediately. Yeah. However, we're at a holiday party. That's not really the best place to be talking about it.
Family holiday
and
party.
it could turn into a big shit show really fast.
Yeah, right.
So for me, I think it would be as soon as the door hits us on the ass and we're walking to the car, that's when we're going to talk about it.
So the first chance you get.
Once we're away from everybody in person.
Okay.
I just know me and I know how I am. I mean, otherwise I sit and stew and I'm going to be even more pissed off. So I need to get it out and talk about it.
I get it.
For me, that's me though. I mean, I can't say other people might never talk about it, which I feel sad for them that they hold on to it and they don't.
Yeah.
And maybe you talk about it the next day. There's going to be people who are going to, want to marinate on it and think about a better way to talk or a better way to answer. For me, I just go right. But that's me. I just like to go right in and get it fixed as quickly as possible.
Yeah. I think for me, that's a acceptable answer, right? And I say that meaning I don't think not talking about it if it bothered you is an option. It's just stupid. You need to open your fucking mouth and say something and figure out why.
Agreed.
You can't, because all you're doing is creating the eggshell if you don't bring it up or say anything.
You're already
and that's like episode 1. So go back to it. However, I think, I don't know if right that moment is the best time to do it.
Not at the party.
Let's go in the kitchen and talk real quick.
No.
But yeah, I mean, even just as soon as you get in the car to ask what the fuck was that is perfectly fine.
So the unhealed Tina
would
have probably, Yeah, I would have been at the party and I would have been pissed
Creating
and I would have been,
issue, yeah.
I don't know, I wouldn't have created an eggshell. I would
No
have been,
issue.
yeah, I would have been pissed
eggshell.
and I would have been following that person around and trying to get an answer and bit, poking. Yeah, unhealed. I laugh now because I know unhealed me would have been like, tell me. Let's talk about it right now.
There's no.
I mean, I'm still saying, I know, but I'm still saying my ass would hit the door, would hit me.
Yeah.
And we'd be going to the car and I'd be like, okay, let's talk about this.
Right.
It's like,
right.
But it wouldn't be like yelling. It would be like, why did you call me your friend? Like, it, and I feel like that's why for me, it doesn't escalate. If I sit on it, it escalates.
Sure. Right. Because it festers.
Correct. And then of course your own mind,
right.
The spiral that we'll talk about in another episode.
That's right. We thought about it this time, but we're like, oh, we don't have a good example in there.
So did that answer your?
Yeah. No. Okay. Part B. No,
are you ready?
Sure. Well, I thought, isn't it my turn? Or is it your turn?
No, that was my question that you gave me.
Oh, okay. Okay. Go ahead.
That was my question that you gave me.
Okay. You're right.
What is your definition of exclusively dating, and how is this different from quote unquote regular dating?
What is my definition?
What is your definition of exclusively dating, and how is it different from regular dating?
Well, regular dating, I mean, exclusive. So if things are done properly, okay.
There's always an asterisk next to everything.
Well, it kind of, because dating, to me, dating is dating. You're going out on dates. You're having fun with one another. Maybe you're having sex. Maybe you're not. But you may also be dating other people at the same time. Exclusively dating is you've had a conversation. You didn't assume it was exclusive, because we've discussed this before, maybe even with these cards. But you've had a conversation where both of you are on the same page that neither of you are seeing other people and that it's more serious. Right. So it's, exclusively dating could be considered like pre-engagement, right? Like if you think about it, that's what it is, because that's what all of it is, right?
Kind of.
Unless
the end game is marriage.
Right. If the end game is marriage, so exclusively dating is a step before getting engaged.
Yeah, that's true.
Or a step before living together and getting engaged, depending on your beliefs and abilities. But so personally, I think that's what it is. You're monogamous. You're in a monogamous relationship or a committed relationship with that person, and you're on the same page with all of that, right? So I say monogamous. The majority of people think monogamous, but some people are in a throuple or some sort of polyamorous relationship. I don't know that you could call that exclusive though, or not, unless you're exclusive to those two, and all three of you have had a conversation.
I know that's a lot of talking.
It's a whole lot of everything. Try not to go down a bad road there. This one's a little.
By the way, it's kind of funny that that's a discussion. The word exclusive versus regular. I think that's kind of a funny card.
It is for some,
right?
But there are some people that want to play word games.
No, I know. That's why I think it's like. Well, and it makes me think of the episode of Seinfeld where George is saying he doesn't have a girlfriend when he was with Susan, and Jerry's like, "Are you cleaning your bathroom? Yeah. Are you cleaning the tub? Yeah. Do you have feminine hygiene products in your bathroom?" And he's like, how are your call frequencies? Is it implied that you're dating going out on Saturday night? And he's like, yeah. He's like, you have a girlfriend.
Right.
And it's funny because George is saying no, but Jerry's like, yeah, I just gave you all these reasons you do. So, which is funny because. Yeah.
Is that the Marissa Tomei one?
No, I don't think so.
No?
I think that's just like right at the beginning when he doesn't want to admit, or maybe it is the Marissa Tomei one.
I feel like it's the Marissa Tomei one.
It might be the Marissa Tomei one. Yeah. But anyway.
Well, we'll watch it when we're sleeping. This was a little sexual, I guess.
Oh boy.
A man finds his significant other's sex toy and throws it away because he feels it's too big. He tells her she's not allowed to have any toy that's bigger than him. I mean, what is he, like 5'11", 6 foot? Is that reasonable? Explain. Is that reasonable?
I mean, No, I don't think so. I mean, so
You're
I have
welcome.
so many thoughts. Yeah, thanks for this card.
Yeah, you're welcome. If anybody's gonna be uncomfortable with this one, it's you.
I'm just trying to think. So first of all, I don't think anyone. I don't think anyone has the right to tell someone, like that's like anything else. Like you can't have that shirt, or I don't want you to have that motorcycle. Like, personally, I don't agree with that stuff.
Yes.
So I mean, I understand this is a sex toy or whatever. However,
a bit more personal.
It is. However, dare I say this?
Oh boy.
Probably gonna have a lot of people not like me for this, but my take on toys. I don't agree. I understand why they're there. It's not the same. However, I understand why people use them.
Yeah.
So the reality would be, I think the question would have to be for the dude that's asking the question, that's upset about it. Do you feel like you're not satisfying her? And that's like a whole other conversation, because so that means she could have a whole drawer of dildos that are the same size or smaller than yours, but because it's bigger, she can't.
Yeah. Yes.
So I feel like, okay, yes,
that's literally what according to the card.
No, I don't. I think that's his own insecurity, and I don't know. I mean, there's a part of me that's like, you don't want your partner to feel insecure or upset, or you obviously don't want to do anything wrong. However, talk about it. Again, I know it's hard for people to talk about it. What's funny is you'll have sex with the person, but you won't talk about it with them.
Right. Why you're uncomfortable. So let's say, so part of this,
I'm torn a little bit on that.
Right. Part of this example is he tells her she's not allowed to have any toys.
That.
Is that reasonable? So
I don't like the
would it be reasonable for him to request her not use them have them?
So that's a great question. So this is the difference. So I think that's what I didn't like, is don't fucking tell me what to do.
Right.
I think, again, if he comes to you and says, listen, I love you, whatever, I'm okay with you having toys. I feel a little bit insecure because that one's so much bigger, I feel like then if he's being like legitimately vulnerable, like it bothers me to do this. I think he can ask anything he wants. That doesn't mean he's going to get it.
Yeah.
However, I think it opens up discussion with her then.
For sure.
And then, of course, from her perspective, it's what's more important. Like, do you want your partner to feel loved and respected? Like, you want to feel loved and respected? Or, would you rather say, I'm sorry, this thing gives me more pleasure than you do? Like, I guess it would depend. But I feel like it at least opens the conversation, or opens the communication. Yeah. And then maybe it brings you closer together, in which case, I mean, or maybe you use it together and you show them, hey, it's not really that scary or something. Like, that might be the next option. I don't know. I know.
Honey, get the jackhammer. We're gonna...
I don't know, but telling someone what to do like that, I'm not a fan.
Well, I think, is this reasonable? Not based on this the way it's written.
Correct.
He tells her she's not allowed to have
and he got
any
rid
toy.
of it without even asking. That's like throwing out a guy's underwear. That don't throw out my favorite underwear, and you throw them out anyway because you think he's not going to miss. Like, I don't agree with that,
because you don't like him. Right.
I don't agree
this
with
is
people
again
doing
though
that.
This is rooted in some sort of insecurity.
It is. However, that's a good conversation though for him to. Why do you feel insecure about it? And maybe you find other ways that you don't feel insecure about it, because
I agree with that.
Whatever. So I think that's something that opens the door.
Right. Okay.
I don't know. What's a side piece, and have you ever been one or had one before? If so, why?
What's a side piece? So the answer to that for me is no and no. I'm sorry. What? So what is it? Have you ever had one?
Have you ever
if
been
so,
one?
Why? Have you ever been one?
On. Let me go back to it.
Yeah, the answer is no.
What's a side piece, and have you ever been one or had one before? If so, why? So you're all nose. So
yeah, I'm all nose. I'm like, I got a giant nose. Yeah, no. Well, a side piece is it's
why does anyone want to be called
somebody that you have on the side?
I know.
Outside of your committed relationship is the way I understand it.
But who wants to be called a piece?
Fuck, who knows? People are weird. They probably don't, but they're just saying side piece. They're not saying, "Are you okay with being called a side piece?" So
I know, but I don't know.
It's de lover.
I don't like that either.
No, it's their yes. So it's somebody they're cheating on the side.
Yeah.
That they go fool around with. Obviously, we can't assume that person knows that they're taken or not. I'm gonna make the assumption that they know if they are officially a side piece. But for me, no. So like I always laugh and tell people, even though I'm a goofball and I say a lot of shit, I've had been with 2 ladies in my life, my first wife and my current wife. And that's it. So I've never done that, never had a desire to do that, never had it. So I think if you're doing it, it's like everything else. Why are you doing it?
Right.
What's the purpose? If it's sex related because you're not getting it from your main piece, the main course, we'll call it the main course and your side dish. I think we're coined something new. Your main course and your side dish. We're using that shit. Hey, Ace Metaphor, if you catch this, you could use that. But I think you have to know why it is you're doing it.
Yeah.
So if you're missing something in your relationship and you need it from there, then you have a problem. If you don't have a problem, your relationship is great, but you just like to fuck, then you're a piece of shit, and you probably need to figure out why you're a piece of shit. That's just what I'm saying.
Sex Addicts Anonymous.
That's right. Go get you a giant sex toy.
As long as it's not too big as the person you're with.
Right. Yeah. As long as your partner is smaller than 5'4". All right. So you're married and your spouse tells you that they slept around while you were dating. Would this change anything?
So if we go back to the dating, the exclusive dating versus the dating, mm-hmm. If it was exclusive dating, that means you're a cheater. If it was the dating, you're not a cheater. However, obviously you just, you were testing the waters. So no, I think anything that happens before you become exclusive doesn't really, the person that you didn't, especially because you didn't know that if like you might have felt. So this is the thing that kind of makes me laugh as I'm trying to put it into words. You have one person who believes that you have a relationship and the other person does not. And even though it might be we're just hanging out or we're casual or whatever the wording is, I don't know, everybody's got their own wording on how they do it. They're not on the same page and they haven't had a conversation. So this person feels like it's official. This person doesn't. This person's off doing whatever and doing whoever. This person's going to feel that way. Yeah. However, you also didn't ask. Like, so again, I know it's like, for me, it's super simple. Are you seeing other people and are you having sex with other people? Because like, honestly, for me, if I'm dating someone and they're sleeping with a bunch, so I personally would go out on dates, but I would not, if I started having sex with one of the people I was dating, I would not, that is correct. There is no one else. Right. That's just me though.
Right.
I don't say that, I mean, whatever other people do is their business. That's just my preference is that I don't feel comfortable. It doesn't mean it's exclusive. It's just me. However, if the other person tells me that's what's happening, if you're being honest about it's okay. I think the problem I have is, for those that want to have sex, unprotected sex, if you're doing that with everyone and you have all these other people, that's a problem. Like for me personally, that's the way I always looked at it, which is, I think that's a fair thing to say because I've known people in the past who I used to work with that passed herpes on to like 4 people in my office.
Right.
Because he didn't tell anyone he had it. And he was having sex and getting blowjobs from people at work and stuff. So yeah. So I'm just saying.
Right.
So I mean, it's like that's like to me, I think that's more of it than the fact that they were having sex with people.
Yeah.
I mean, again, if
Agreed.
it's to me, it's all about the discussion. If you're discussing it.
If one of you has this notion that you're in a committed relationship and you're not having sex and the other one doesn't, something's been missed.
Yeah. I mean,
something's been left out of the conversation if there was even a fucking conversation.
Well, and sometimes one knows what the other one's thinking, but they don't until that other person brings it up. They're not gonna. It's like the don't ask, don't tell, which to me is still lying.
Which would mean to me, I feel like the person that's out sleeping around probably knows the other person thinks they're in a more of a committed relationship, but because it hasn't been said,
I know
asterisk. It's stupid.
I think that's a gray area too as well. But I personally wouldn't. No, I mean it's gray meaning that they don't talk. Like they're making it gray because they're not
out.
Exactly.
Right. Yeah.
So
I also think that this brings up a great question or debate about that we've discussed a few times recently. Watching Love is Blind, right? So this most recent season, it's all done. You know, we may do a bath bomb on it. I don't know. It depends on how much time we get. But we don't want to go too far. It already ended. So, but there's some really great examples on that show, and one of them was one of the young ladies was dating a guy. She found a guy on the show. He proposed. Then they found out that she had been sleeping with somebody he knew prior to coming on the show, as soon as a week before coming on the show. Now, in her eyes, or her explanation was basically he was a friend with benefits, a fuck buddy.
Yep.
There was no relationship there. There was no commitment there. And this other person who they never showed the guy, obviously he wasn't part of the show. Right. He was like a bad, secondary character that you never get to see. You just hear who they're referencing. Had a different idea, and he tainted all of this guy's friends and him and stuff. And the guy believed this dude who he wasn't really friends with them, but instead of the girl he fell in love with in the pods, he found out before he ever came home, and they knew it was might come up. Part of the issue that people are bringing up is like, well, you're going on this show to find a fiance, but you're sleeping with somebody a week before.
I see both sides of it.
I don't.
I see both
one
sides
side.
of it.
She had no. What does that matter?
Right, because she might not have met anybody. So why?
Not even that. She's not. The only person that maybe she owes something to is the guy that she was sleeping with to say, hey, I'm going on this show. I feel like she had told him, but left it open-ended.
Of course. Okay. Yeah, because if she didn't meet someone, she wanted to come back and have her fuck buddy.
And is that right or wrong? I think once she found somebody, as soon as she got off the plane or got their phones back, the first thing you do is you tell a person, hey, I met somebody.
Yep, I'm done.
We're
done. There's no more.
Right.
Yep.
There's no more.
Yep.
But the thing that I don't, and this is coming from me, right, Mr. Two Ladies, I don't see an issue with the fact that she was with a person a week before, because she's not in a committed relationship with that person. She's not in love with them.
Right.
She's literally,
she didn't even know anybody yet.
Relieving some stress. Let's just say she's relieving some stress. I mean, that's it.
Yeah.
So she owes nothing to anybody. But some people think that if she was preparing to find the person of her life, that she shouldn't be having sex with them. I disagree.
Well, I think about how a lot of people say, oh, you're going to have sex with that one person for the rest of your life. So maybe that was her last hurrah with someone before she found a fiance.
Maybe, which again is still
another
not a problem.
Argument. No, right. I know. That's what I'm saying. That's another argument for it. But I could see why some people would say, they're saying, if you're in the mindset of getting married, why would you do that? But at the same time, sometimes sex is literally just sex. And it sounds like, from what she was saying, he was a fuck buddy.
Yeah.
So It was literally just physical. So like you said, stress relief.
And the other thing, he may have been catching feelings.
Yeah, that's
because
not her fault.
It is not her fault.
Well, unless she knew and was abusing it,
Correct.
which is not.
I
which
agree.
Is shitty. So,
I agree.
Yeah.
But I don't see it personally. I don't see an issue with it. People made more of an issue out of it with her a lot of the times than with him, and he was a fucking dipshit. Hopefully, he's watching this.
You ready?
Yeah.
True or false?
True.
Breaking up from a no drama friends with benefits relationship can be more complicated than some official relationships. Defend your answer.
That's weird that you pulled that card.
I know.
We literally just talked about this, and we're just randomly pulling cards. So let me see that. True or false? Breaking up from a no drama friends with benefits relationship can be more complicated than some official. The answer is yes. True, because again, the way we just ended that last example is he may have had feelings for her and she didn't, and it's messy then. It's almost, I don't want to say it's more hurtful, because that's not fair to the people that aren't, with somebody with friends with benefits. It's all hurtful. So if he was feeling that way, and or she, whoever, one of them was feeling, they had feelings or starting to catch feelings, to them it could be a shock, even though you guys laid the ground rules and stuff. And for some reason I feel like this is more of a men thing, right? So they always say women connect, if you guys have sex, women connect more emotionally that way, but I think guys get caught up in it just as much, if not more, once they start having sex. I know sex is essentially more of an emotional thing for women, but I think once, if that's the agreement they have and that's the time they're spending, they wind up feeling more hurt when it ends. Now, is it ego or is it something else? I don't know, but
I think it's usually because someone catches feelings. That's
truly
what it is.
Absolutely, that's true. It can definitely be messier and harder, because the problem is it comes back down to communication. Well, and what you assumed, you made assumptions about something, and you went outside, you colored outside the lines on that relationship, and that didn't work. These were the boundaries you were given for this relationship.
But I think sometimes also, I think that the one part of it too is some people don't like giving up the friends with benefits.
Yeah.
Because it's comfortable. It's like, so like when you say no drama, like to a certain extent, there's no drama. But if the one that caught the feelings, this is the part that I don't like about it. The one who caught the feelings will wait around for the other one while they go gallivant and do whatever they want. And when then that shit doesn't work out, that person needs a shot of confidence, or they need an ego boost, and they go running back to that person because they know that person's kind of been waiting around or is definitely available, caught some feelings. So they know they can go back and they kind of loving on that person, even though they don't really just, they're hanging out with them and doing stuff because they know that how that person feels about them.
Yes, that's
so
shitty,
I feel like, but sadly I see it a lot, and I don't like it.
Well,
I wish people saw it more, and instead of feeling wanted, instead of wanting to feel wanted so badly and looking for validation externally, I wish people would have more respect for themselves than to allow themselves to be taken advantage of someone that doesn't love them the same way or doesn't like them the same way, whatever.
Well, the easy answer is don't get in a friends with benefits thing if you can't handle the situation and that's the type of person you are, but you need some sex, then you need to figure that shit out, because don't do it. Well, if you're a relationship person, if you're a relationship person and you try to make an arrangement, a platonic, which I don't understand anyway, but you have this platonic, we're going to fuck relationship and watch a little TV, and then I'm going to head home and we'll see y'all later till next week when I'm ready to bang one out again. Right.
Yeah.
if you're the relationship person, friends with benefits is not going to work for you.
Mm-mm.
You have to be able to turn that part off, or you're going to get hurt. You're bound to get hurt.
Absolutely.
Now, in that situation, if everybody's on the same page and we don't have somebody thinking they're, or, being taken advantage of, I have no issue with this person went off and it didn't work out and they came back and said, hey, you want to strike up our bang sessions again?
Yeah.
Then, and they say, yeah, there's nothing wrong with that.
Right.
Provided, they're not taking advantage of their feelings or whatever.
Yeah, because if you're trying to be friends with benefits with someone that you're really, truly friends with, that usually means that there's some feelings somewhere.
Probably. No.
Yeah. That's kind of like almost like how you make it work
or
start it.
It's a whole Monica Chandler thing.
Kind of, sort of.
Next question. Your significant other quits their job because they want to become a rapper.
Okay.
MC Norm. The mixtape is dropping next week, but so are the bills. Would you support them?
Yes.
It's good to know. I'm gonna spit a few rhymes.
It comes with
more asterisks,
some little footnotes or whatever, little 1, 2, 3, and 4, whatever. So I've experienced this in my past.
Yeah. You had somebody that rapped in your past?
I did not have someone that rapped. However, I did have someone that it meant a lot to him to pursue a certain dream.
Yeah.
And I did support it.
Yeah.
Financially as well as everything else that came along with it.
Mm-hmm.
It is stressful when you're
the only one making
money. The only one making money, for sure. However, you have to sometimes, I think you have to pick and choose. I think one of the lessons I learned is you have to pick and choose those things that are important or what's happening. However, I think if it was something, so in this case, this person actually has something happening.
Yeah.
Okay. Like it says the record's the mixtape's dropping, right? So this person actually followed through and has the actual mixtape, which although there's bills, they weren't just dreaming something and sitting back and talking about it. It was words.
Right.
Sitting around all day and not doing anything. Yeah. And then, right. So I feel like that's what would prompt me to say that I would support it. However, there would also be some timelines and some conversations about those kind of things. Like I think I learned from the last time that you can't just keep letting that go on and on and on and on.
Well, yeah, that's one of the things I was going to say, but
I always support dreams of people that I love.
I think a few things that are kind of missing in this is one, the mixtape is dropping next week, which means they've already done something and they just dropped this bomb on you. So you didn't know about it. It doesn't say it. But I'm saying it says your significant other quits their job because they want to become a rapper. The mixtape, it doesn't say that. So there's a chance that you don't know about it. And
I'd be pissed
if it says they
quit their job without telling me they quit their job.
Well, no, it says they quit their job because they want to become a rapper. The mixtape is, that means I come to you today and say, hey, babe, I quit my job today. I've had this dream of becoming a rapper.
I see what you're saying.
And I already made a mixtape. It's going out next week.
Okay. Ding, ding, ding. So
that's already,
I see you already did it.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I see. Okay.
It doesn't say your significant other wants to quit their job. It says they quit their job. And this is dropping next week.
See, I didn't even
which
hear
means
that right.
they've already
made the
started
tape,
doing
right.
it.
So they made the tape and now they want to quit their job because now they want to see if the tape sells.
Quit.
Oh, I'm sorry. They already quit the job and now they want to see. Okay. Yeah, I think I would be pissed about quitting the job without talking to me about it first.
But would you still support them?
I mean, yes. And then again with limitations,
Right.
boundaries, discussions,
right.
things like that. So
I think
yes, there would have to be discussion, but I would be pissed with quitting a job without talking to me.
So first off, I think it's where was the mixtape recorded?
Yeah, right.
Was it done in the bathroom? Okay. Because the acoustics are best in there. Yeah. How many times have they done this in the past with something else? So are they a dreamer and there's not a lot of follow through? So
it sounds like there was follow through here.
Well,
but it would depend. Yes. That's why I said there would be discussion for sure.
But the follow through is we've done this much here and then that's it, right? And then you go from there. So I think there's some caveats to that, but there's caveats to all of these, I guess.
And so how fucking hilarious. This is the one that I just picked.
Okay.
How long could a man not bring income in before it starts affecting the relationship?
Why does it say man? Interesting.
How long could a man not bring income in before it starts affecting the relationship? I just think it's funny that we just talked about the person quitting their job because of their mixtape. But you're right. It specifically says man.
Yeah.
So let's take off the man. Let's just say, how long could a person not bring income in? Because it works both ways. You and I both know that works both ways. So how long could it not bring income in before it starts affecting the relationship?
I think it depends on... There's a lot of things that it depends on. First off, financially, how bad of a position is it putting you in? Mm-hmm. Okay. If the one that isn't bringing income in, let me rephrase that. The one that is bringing the income in, if they're having to work a lot of extra hours and overtime while the other person doesn't bring any income in, that's going to get old really quick. If they work their normal hours and they put in some overtime because they choose to, maybe they always have, and that income is enough to be sufficient for them and do the things that they want to do, okay, that's one hurdle surpassed. Then it becomes, what are they doing with their time? Right. If you're just, watching Seinfeld during the day on YouTube and you put in a couple applications in the morning and the rest of the day you don't do jack shit, to me that's a problem. I don't know if there's a time frame because every relationship is different, so it depends on a lot of things. But
yeah,
it could happen really. I mean, it would get old really fast,
and we've seen it with people we know where
it becomes an issue.
Well, and then the other part of it is
a burden. That's what it is.
So what I've experienced in my past marriage, as well as watching with other people though too, is I feel like there's always going to be the possibility that one person is up while the other person is down.
Yeah.
And so that's what we're there for as partners, is this person might be making money right now while you're not. And then you're making money and they're not. And then you're both making money together. Like, that happens depending on, again, the kind of jobs you have and all that kind of stuff. However, when the other person is not working, you need to be making dinners and lunches and grocery shopping and doing the laundry and cleaning the house, taking care of the bills. Right, that's everything. Your share of...
That's your job.
Yeah.
Your entire job.
Whether it's the man or the woman,
correct.
Because for one person to be working, bringing in the money and doing all the work, and then having to come home and do laundry and clean and cook and go grocery shopping and do it, that's tough.
Right.
That's tough.
Right. Take care of the kids, whatever your situation is.
That's a hard one. I agree with you. That could be, and the unfortunate part is it's not always discussed properly.
No.
So, you might have someone who can't hold down a job. Then you have a lot of, I'm going to throw this out there, the women who were taught to they were taught at the University of MRS.
Right.
And they just want to be stay-at-home mom and go get their nails done and drop the kids off at school. But you have to have that conversation. There's nothing wrong with that if
everybody's on the same page.
Correct. So you had a job when you met. You're working to, when you're both working. I mean, I'm thinking of a specific couple in my head where she worked her whole life. He worked his whole life. They got married. And then all of a sudden she got lazy and didn't want to do shit anymore. And he worked like multiple jobs and was always whatever. And then she had kids. And then the kids were an excuse, but other stuff still wasn't getting done and whatever.
Right.
And she just got super lazy, and it was always a fight and always an argument, and he resented her.
Yeah.
And then she would get mad at him and threaten to divorce him. And there was like back and forth. It was like bullshit.
Right.
And they never could get themselves on the same page together because it was like, there was resentment. I mean, it causes resentment
It causes resentment because
when you see the other person sitting around doing nothing while you're busting your ass.
But you, again though, and I know who you're talking about, I don't know if there was an upfront agreement made specifically.
No, there probably wasn't.
No,
there was no conversation. It was just,
let's do this.
Well, because you both worked and you assume
it was going to stay that way.
That is correct.
And you didn't have the conversation when you decided to let them be a stay-at-home parent.
Yep.
And there's listen, that's work. Okay.
Oh God, yeah, it is.
That's work. If you're the parent, you have to take care of the kids, and if you're kicking in your share, which is doing the stuff at home.
Yep. It's a lot of work.
It's funny. This argument, we've seen this before and talked about it, I think, before. People, I think when spouses make that decision, I think both of them wind up becoming resentful. The one person that stays home becomes resentful a lot of times because the person that works an actual we'll say a paying job, right?
Okay.
Or a career.
Yeah, okay.
They work a career.
They're going to a physical
They're going to a physical career job.
Okay.
They're earning the money that comes in to help support everybody.
Okay.
There's some resentment when they come home and they don't pitch in to do the laundry or do certain other things. It happens.
I know.
Right? They're like, you never help me with anything around the house. Oh, well, you don't help bring the income in.
I know.
Right?
I mean, we hear it a lot,
pressure.
Unfortunately.
There's actual pressure because now that person has to have that job. It's not a matter of, you have two incomes, and if you decide you don't like that job, you can look for another one, you go somewhere else. No, the pressure's on to keep that job because
especially when you throw
everybody
kids in there.
depends on you for it at this point in time. And it's not just men, it's women too, right?
Absolutely.
I've seen more and more cases where women have the experience or the degree or the better job, and the guys stay home and do the parenting side of it, the homemaker side of it, so to speak. And it's funny because then the person that's working gets resentful because the person at home isn't going out. That's the argument of, well, my money, right? That kind of thing, right? That thing has come up before with people, and that's not real fair, I don't think. Yeah, you worked, but that person also worked.
Yeah.
They're the reason you got to go play softball, twice a week, because they were taking care of the children that you helped bring into the world, as well as making food and cleaning house and making sure your dirty ass underwear have been washed and all that stuff, right? So it is a career, it is a job, but everybody needs to be on that same page. And if it's, hey, yeah, I want you to stay home until the kids are of school age, and then we're gonna have you go back to work. Then if that agreement has been broken, now there's a different discussion to be had.
And that seems to happen, unfortunately.
It does. And
people get used to
people get
being
comfortable
home.
of it.
Well, they get used to not having to go to work, and then when they suddenly have to go to work, they don't even know.
Yeah, I don't know
what to do, how to go. Skills are different now. Things are changed. People feel a bit insecure going back. That kind of stuff. But
I think it's a whole bunch of baloney.
But it's funny how it always goes back to communication, huh?
Yeah, I know. Everything is with these cards. It's so hilarious. And so many of them can be fixed with just a simple
conversation.
All right, next card. A couple more, and then we're pretty much there, I guess. You're dating for about a year, but you have never been to your significant other's home. What does this most likely mean? Yes.
I don't know that it necessarily means anything.
No?
There's a lot of things it can mean. It could mean they live with someone else that they don't want you to know about, whether it's an ex. We had a friend who was madly in love with someone, and she was dating him. They were dating, whatever. She would go by his house, whatever. He never was invited over to her house. He started to be a little bit suspicious. One day he follows her back to her place or whatever and finds out that she was living with her ex-husband.
Oh, yeah.
And she never told him that she was living with her ex, and he was fucking devastated.
Yeah.
For me personally, I was in my relationship with my ex-boyfriend for 9 years.
Okay.
And I didn't get to come to his apartment ever. When he finally moved out on his own and had his own apartment, I was never invited over. He had a key to my apartment. I wasn't allowed one to his apartment. And of course, to me, after that much time,
I knew you know where his apartment was?
Yeah, I did.
Okay.
I didn't know. I mean, I knew he wasn't living with anyone.
Yeah.
However, you get suspicious. What the fuck are you hiding over there?
Yeah.
What am I going to see there that you don't want me to see, kind of thing? And so it turns into a disagreement. That was not even 1 year. That was 9 years.
Based on him, probably a sex toy that was bigger than he was. Just a guess.
No, but like pictures of him with people
of course.
On vacation that I don't know who they are.
Private
and all
shit
that. The whole second life that he was living, he didn't want me to know. So I feel like that's
second life.
Oh God, yeah. But I feel like that's what I would think after. I mean, a year. But I also know someone that we know that I was talking to over the summer, who was embarrassed to bring women back to his place he was living because he was living in an apartment complex. And he said he was embarrassed because, like, at night it smelled like weed, and there was like loud music and whatever. And he goes, I'm in my 40s and I feel like a loser because of where I live. And I was like, okay, I felt bad he felt that way, but I'm like, how is your place on the inside? He's like, oh, spick and span clean and da-da-da. I'm like, okay, well, you know.
What's the issue?
Right. So, but he was embarrassed of where he lived. So he would never he always went to the women's house. And he told me that I would never bring anyone back to my place until I get my own place because I'm embarrassed of where I live.
This is one of those.
So that's why I say it could be anything.
So if you've been dating for a year and you haven't been to their, first off, I'd ask the person, well, have they been to your place? If the answer is yes, okay. If the answer is no, well then
I feel like it would come
what's
up.
the problem?
I feel like it
that's
would,
that's right. What I'm going with this.
I feel like it would have come up. Like, why don't we ever go by your house?
Right. What could this mean?
Right.
It could mean you never fucking asked why you didn't go over to their house. That's what it could mean.
I was gonna say, because I would be like, how come we don't ever go to your house? Why do we always come to my house?
Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah.
And maybe it's they have a twin bed. It could be that. But you can still go over there and watch TV.
Or the bed is just laying on the floor and there's no box spring
Everything's
or anything.
The TV's on milk crates.
Or there's a futon. Do girls your age like men who have futons? Remember that's what Michael Scott asked? Anyway, so yeah.
That's pretty funny.
I feel like that would be something that would be asked pretty early on.
I feel like it would be an issue before
after a couple
6
months.
After
a couple months.
I think that's ridiculous.
Is there time for you to have one more?
Yeah,
or is
of
there
course.
No time?
Yeah, I have plenty of time.
No.
Dun, dun, dun.
That's the one we did before we...
Suspense.
That was one that we saw earlier in the pack. Hold on.
Oh, that before we started? Oh, okay. The bill.
Wow, the friends with benefits again.
Interesting.
Excuse me. Is it appropriate to keep in contact with past friends with benefits once you're in an official relationship if the sexual part of the friends with benefits is over? That's interesting.
It is interesting. Is it appropriate? I'm going to say yes. First off, I'm going to say it depends on what your partner is comfortable with. Okay.
Right.
And it depends on what kind of friend they are. Right. So I think there's a friend with benefits. Are you actually a good friend? And you guys decided to just start pleasuring each other. Right. And with that understanding,
I still don't know that there's not feelings.
I don't think there isn't either, right? Because you're already, if you're actually friends, right, using that terminology. So do we think there's a difference between friends with benefits versus a fuck buddy? Or they essentially mean the same thing?
I feel like they're supposed to mean the same thing, but to me, fuck buddy is literally just
sex. You guys meet up, have sex.
It's literally just that's it. Friends with benefits to me is you're really truly friends that could go shopping together, go hang out. You don't have sex every time you see each other, but if the mood should strike, you do. I feel like that's a little more of a dangerous one.
It is the dangerous one because you're friends and it's
a little dangerous
because there are times, as well as I do, that when you've had friends that the one person wants to know if you ever had sex with that other person.
Right.
And now that creates this whole, why are you still friends with them? Because most people don't stay friends when they've been with somebody.
No.
After they've broken up, you're not usually friends a lot of the time. Not always, but a lot of the time.
Right.
And in a situation like that, I guess it all depends. If they were friends before and then they had sex for a bit,
it could get messy.
And they've been friends ever since. So I guess it depends on how soon. So if it was friends with benefits, so using the Love is Blind example that I brought up earlier, if this person was her friend and now it was just a week before, that is slightly different, I think.
I mean, because there's more intimacy with a friend. Like now, legitimately, that there's closeness.
So now let's say that scenario is changed and they get out of the show and he finds out that she's still friends with this guy that she used to have sex with a couple years ago, but they haven't had sex in 2 years. Yeah. They've all just been friends and they hang out in the same circles, but there's been nothing since then. And it happened for a while. They were friends before, they had some sex, and then moved on. They found another relationship, and then that just never got brought up ever again. It's been a couple years. I don't see that as a problem.
I agree, and I feel like it depends on the maturity of all the people involved.
Absolutely. That's why I said it's up to. I mean, it depends on how comfortable the one partner is.
Yeah, because again, if it's something from a long time ago that has, and of course, it's up to the person to be honest about the nature of the relationship. How long ago was it? Was all that kind of stuff? Because you really do need your new person to feel comfortable.
Yeah,
that's agree. True. You need your new person to feel comfortable. So yeah, I think it depends on the maturity level of the people. But I think, I don't know. I think the fact is that the hard part, I think, would be for most people, especially if you're an insecure person, but for most people, it'd still be when they're like, if you're hanging out with your friends with benefits and you're going to a ball game together, how do you know you're not going to have a couple beers and, we made out because we were drunk? Or, I mean, like, I feel like
it slipped.
I'm just saying that I feel like you kind of run into that a little, but like, I feel like, I don't know. But you don't want to, you don't want to lose friends in your life, but I don't know. Some of these
I know
were kind of hard.
They're
really thought-provoking.
It can be complicated. I don't think it has to be. I think it depends on when's the last time you had sex with them is a big question.
Yeah.
And what was it? Like, were you actually dating, or
did
you guys just hooked up a few times because you weren't with people at the time, neither one of you, and that's just what you guys did?
Right.
And if it's been a while, okay. It would be no different than if their ex was in their ex-spouse was still in their life because they have kids or whatever, and you have to see that person when they had sex.
Yeah, of course.
And it might have been as soon as, a year ago or 6 months ago because they just got, they just split or whatever. So, it's possible. And is it the sex that's bugging you? That's the other thing. Is it the fact that they had sex with this person that's bothering you?
I think it's the possibility of being cheated on is what
Yeah.
it is.
Yeah.
And then
you don't trust them.
Well, right, but also then I think the other part of it is not only the part of being cheated on, but also the possibility that if they still have there's still feelings there, and that they're not really with you. They're still part, or maybe that other person,
right? Maybe one of them
your
is pining,
person,
right?
yeah, your person that you're with holds on to that person because they're hoping that something can happen, and so they're not fully with you. You know,
it's my favorite. I trust you. I just don't trust them. It's my favorite. One of my many favorite. I have a lot of. We should do a list of Norm's favorites one day.
Oh God!
And just let me rant for a fucking hour.
I'll be like, "What is this?"
Yeah, fucking lose my mind. Bet you my blood pressure would go down. It'd be great after that.
You're so funny.
Anyway, these are fun. I like these.
I do too. They bring a lot of good conversation.
We bust them out when we're struggling on ideas. It's a fallback, but they're fun to do because I think it sparks other conversations.
Plus, it's fun because they're random. Like literally, we're just picking them out and reading them. Like there's no plan.
No, not at all. That's why. I mean, we've taken the ones that we've read and we put them in the front so that we don't pull them again in another episode because maybe it could change down the road. We have some other ones too that we've never opened yet. But they're fun. Ace Metaphor is the guy. He does some relationship stuff.
Yeah, he's actually good to follow.
And Instagram and stuff.
And they also not only relationship, but they also have like date night ones. Yeah. And they actually have some self-love ones and stuff that for people who are trying to learn how to love themselves.
Anyway. For those that are watching, I'll wave it in front of the camera. And maybe the ladies, Lorelai and the rest of the girls at LA Tan over Soiree,
Skylar,
will listen to this episode and they can have some of these debates amongst themselves. Right? I'd love to hear it.
Oh my
so
God,
if they're listening and you guys listened this far to this episode, you'll have to let us know if you talked about it because that will be awesome.
Yeah, I know, right? So, it's kind of funny. Some of them are really, they're really thought provoking. So.
Yeah, and we've been doing some reading. So we'll have some other stuff coming up, the love languages.
Whole book. It's just
we have to expound on the ideas.
Well, plus we also have to feel it. Yeah. Nothing can be forced.
No.
We don't want any bullshit. We don't want it forced. We want to keep everything real. And the reality was there was a lot of great ones. We were like, yeah, that's great. That's great. That's great. But we just weren't, there was no feeling of it. I was like, yeah. And then we're like the cards.
The cards. And it's been quite a while, actually.
I know,
probably
the 20
cards episodes
are fun,
since we did the cards at least. So,
cool.
Yeah, no, it was awesome. Anyway.
We're getting close to 50.
We are. Episodes.
That's
we're already over 50 years of age. But
not me.
Okay. Okay.
Anyway.
So, until, I almost forgot. We're on Instagram.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah, we're on Instagram.
Real.shower.talk.
That's right. And we're on Facebook too, Real Shower Talk. And then we're in the 2000s. We have email.
realshowertalk@gmail.com.
That's right. So anyway, obviously we're being facetious. But yeah, if you want to reach out to us, you have some ideas, anything like that, please let us know.
We know there's a couple ideas that have been brought to our attention, by the way.
Yeah.
We will be doing them. We just haven't done it yet, but we will be doing it.
It'll happen.
Yeah.
It'll happen.
Yeah.
It'll spark some good discussion. But
thanks for listening. We appreciate it. And we'll keep you posted on our Emerald Laser journey.
Yes. Should be interesting.
Until next time. Bye.